Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. This is going to be a really interesting live. We are just getting ready to go live on Instagram. Come on, Instagram, catch up. Here's Instagram always takes a minute to jump on the bandwagon. You hit go live there. Buckle up, because this is going to be a really interesting discussion. Let's get TikTok in the house and get going. I want to talk about something today that I don't completely understand. What the hell is happening to Hollywood? Good morning. This is the Daily Morning Report from Working Actor NYC. It is Thursday, August 20th, and we are live. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I want to welcome everybody. Good morning, Chander. Good morning, Abdullah Altaf. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wherever you are, let me know what you're working on in your acting career today, because I want to talk about something that I don't normally do. So buckle up. I'm going to get really deep, kind of deep into this because I want to understand it. What the hell is happening to Hollywood? Because Paramount is trying to buy Warner Brothers for $110 billion. They're being sued to stop it. So starting October 1st, if they haven't closed the deal, they're going to start paying roughly $7 million a day to Warner Brothers shareholders. Meanwhile, the two biggest movie stories of this year came from guys who were making stuff on YouTube. So as an actor, I'm looking at those two things and thinking, where exactly is our industry going? Does Hollywood feel like it's shrinking to you or changing? Let me know in the comments, because I really do want to kind of dig into this as a way of helping us all figure out what is the strategy here. Okay, so here is the 3-minute version of the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. There are 5 things you need to know. Paramount wants Warner Brothers Discovery. The price is approximately $110 billion of enterprise value. Paramount also swallowed Warner Brothers Discovery's $2.8 billion Netflix breakup fee when that version of the deal did not happen. 12 states and the WGA are suing to stop the merger. And lastly, the trial is in March 2027, but the ticking fee begins October 1st this year at approximately $7 million a day. So why should an actor care about a bunch of billionaires moving companies around, right? Because the actual antitrust argument that the 12 states and the WGA is making are about jobs and production. The New York Attorney General's lawsuit specifically cites Paramount executives telling investors that content spending reductions will be among the merger's synergies, right? The states argue that means fewer productions and fewer jobs. The WGA's case argues that combining two enormous buyers of creative labor could mean less output, fewer jobs, and downward pressure on compensation. And crucially, for my actors out there, SAG-AFTRA formally opposed the acquisition last month unless there are enforceable guarantees of continued and expanded production, including increased US production. That's the actor story here, right? Now, look, there's another side to this argument. Paramount says precisely the opposite. It has committed publicly to producing at least 30 theatrical movies annually and says the merger will expand high-quality content and create creative industry jobs. And just yesterday, the theater industry, the cinema trade organization called for a settlement of the lawsuit with enforceable protections for film output and theaters. That's AMC, Regal, and Cinemark have also backed the merger after Paramount's production commitments. So Paramount's made those commitments, so the theater industry trade organization, plus the individual cinema companies have changed their tune. So I don't know which version of that actually turns out to be true. Paramount says scale will allow them to make more. The unions and 12 attorneys general say consolidation gives them every financial incentive to make less. Okay, here's what fascinates me. Because while Hollywood is spending $110 billion to consolidate itself, look at where some of the most interesting new value is being created. Good morning, friends. Okay, let's take a breath. Good morning. This is the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. And today I'm getting into something I don't normally do. I'm getting deep in the weeds on the state of the industry, what it means for Hollywood, and what it means for actors like you and me. Good morning, Pilar Alzan. Good morning from Vietnam to Tiet Pham. Charlotte is new to TikTok and trying to make some friends. Good morning, Charlotte, and welcome. I just want to welcome all my actors out there. Hello, TK from Thailand. Good morning and welcome. This is the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. This is your place for real life stories, insight, and strategies on being a working actor in New York City. That's what we are here to talk about. Let's just check in. El Morgan. Oh, El Morgan, my brain is up and ready this morning. I was typing away, like, here are my thoughts. I want to know. I want to figure this out. I want to get into this because it is fascinating to me. And I just keep seeing so much discussion about this Paramount Warner Brothers merger. And I'm over here trying to cogitate. Oh, there is a $10 word coming out of a $5 mouth. I am trying to figure out what it all means. For actors like us, what does this actually look like on the ground for those of us in the acting industry who are trying to build a career? What does all of this billionaire moving money around in Hollywood, what does it all mean? Okay, so while we have all of the billionaires doing all of their Hollywood stuff, I can't help but notice that one of the biggest stories this year for film was that there's entirely new ways being created of doing it. Good morning, Adeline Calago. Good morning, Lionel Nessie. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kane Parsons created the Backrooms as a teenager on YouTube. He eventually directed that feature at 20 years old. The production budget for that film was reportedly around $10 million, right? The opening weekend of that movie generated $118 million worldwide. It became A24's biggest opening ever. That isn't somebody climbing Hollywood's ladder. It is Kane Parsons built his own ladder and Hollywood came looking for it. Now, I wrote a Substack article about this called Jumping Ladders. I had already written an essay about this before I started typing all of this out and trying to figure out what I was trying to figure out for myself. And then there's Obsession. One of the other huge stories this year was Obsession. Let me know if you're a fan of Backrooms or Obsession, if you went to see those at the movie theater or if you're waiting for those to come out on streaming. Obsession is this whole other story, right? Kari Barker built an audience making sketches and low-budget horror films on YouTube. He created a viral short called The Chair, and that got the attention of producers. He eventually made Obsession for reportedly around $750,000. By June, it had passed $300 million worldwide. Hollywood didn't invent Curry Barker. Hollywood discovered that Curry Barker had already taught himself how to make things that people wanted to watch. That's materially different. And I feel as though one of the narratives that we hear is that the movie theater is dying. Mm-mm, mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. The summer 2026 box office is currently, let me check these numbers. The summer 2026 box office is currently about 5.7% ahead of the comparable 2019 summer, according to recent reporting. Spider-Man Brand New Day has passed $2 billion worldwide, and The Odyssey has passed $1.2 billion. So maybe audiences weren't saying we don't want movies anymore. Maybe they were saying, give us something worth leaving the house for. And the numbers are there. The evidence is there. They'll show up for both concepts. Spider-Man, gigantic established IP, right? The Odyssey, massive auteur filmmaking. Backrooms, internet-born IP, Obsession, micro-budget original horror from a YouTube filmmaker. That doesn't mean cinema is dying. There's a much more hopeful story there. But the big traditional Hollywood studios are understandably terrified of risk. I mean, when we're talking about $110 billion, which is the enterprise value of the Warner Brothers Paramount merger, you have to understand that there are massive amounts of money involved. And so they're terrified of risk. But look at the Disney lineup that they just created. New Marvel X-Men projects, new Star Wars projects. Frozen 4 is in development. Frozen 3 is coming out officially coming out November 2027. They just announced The Incredibles 3 and Coco 2. I mean, these are all these sequels. I'm not criticizing Disney for making sequels. They're a business. If Frozen reliably makes billions of dollars for them, of course they're going to make another Frozen. But if you're an actor waiting for giant corporations to become more adventurous as their financial stakes get bigger, I don't know that that's the bet that I want to make with my career. So what does this mean for actors, right? If this sort of billionaire moving billions around and consolidating themselves, if consolidation produces fewer buyers of scripted content, there's a legitimate possibility of fewer projects, fewer roles, more actors competing for each role, which is exactly why SAG-AFTRA and the WGA are worried. But I feel like there's a whole other ecosystem being created. Creator-led projects, micro-budget features, YouTube native storytellers, new distribution models, new financing structures, and sort of audience-first IP. Not all of those projects will pay properly. Not all will be union. Most will fail. But the pipeline exists, and we're seeing the evidence that it can be successful. Look at Backrooms and Obsession. Look at the all right. So what does this mean for New York City actors? New York City isn't isolated from the whole traditional Hollywood model. The New York Attorney General is one of the 12 plaintiffs, specifically arguing that reduced content means fewer jobs throughout production. Actors, crew. Hey, Choco, you're about the, let's see, somebody shows up every day and almost asks me to say that out loud. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get banned by TikTok. So good job. Welcome, Choco. Probably not a real person, probably just a bot. But no, I'm not going to say that. Thanks for being here. But the thing, so if the traditional Hollywood pipeline isn't going to fuel actors in New York City, let's get real about what does exist here, right? We are in an enormous community of actors, writers, comedians, theater artists, filmmakers, film school graduates, independent producers, digital creators. Your opportunity as an actor doesn't necessarily begin with get an agent, the agent submits you, casting calls, you audition, and you book the role. It can begin with you meet a writer in a coffee shop, you make something together, you release it on YouTube where an audience finds it, and opportunity follows from that. It doesn't mean you need to become Kari Barker, but the opportunity exists. Jack and Annan from Adults. Okay, I talk a lot about Adults because I love that show and I think it's hilarious and I can see myself on it as Billy's dad. Jack and Annan plays Paul Baker on the show. Look at the way his career trajectory is going. He became known for these satirical comedy videos on YouTube, and he built a following of 3 million viewers on YouTube, apparently, before starring as Paul Baker on FX. You know, he was a viral sketch comedian, making YouTube videos in his college dorm room before, you know, building these audiences. Jack didn't make comedy videos because Paramount was looking for Paul Baker. Paul Baker didn't exist yet. He developed a comic voice. He became visible. And eventually, the traditional industry had a use for what he'd already built. Now, this plays perfectly into my 4 inputs strategy that I use with my coaching clients, that I use for my own career. That, like, developing your comic voice, becoming visible on a platform like YouTube, and eventually the industry finding a use for that, that is craft, that is visibility, and that is relationships showing up organically. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so the question that I'm asking myself is, I've spent 25 years learning how to operate inside the traditional acting business, you know, agent, submission, casting director, audition, callback, booking, right? And I'm not abandoning any of that, but I'm increasingly unwilling to make that the only place where my career can happen. I mean, if traditional Hollywood is consolidating and moving billions of dollars around and cutting costs and becoming more risk averse, maybe my response shouldn't be to become more dependent on them. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Ah, yes, 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 yes. That's right, El Morgan, following the craft versus the dollar. Although I'm not sure that it's setting it up as a binary is the way to go. I feel as though there's a fluid strategy here. That's what I'm discovering for myself. It may not that fluid strategy of the traditional Hollywood dollar system may not appeal to a lot of creatives. I'm okay with it. But I don't know that there's a place in it for me at this stage of my career. But when my career gets to the point where where those two things fit together, yeah, I'm gonna I'm happy to take advantage of that. I just sort of feel like traditional Hollywood might be contracting, but storytelling isn't. People are watching more video than ever. People are going to the theater when something excites them. People are discovering performers on TikTok. They are discovering filmmakers on YouTube. They are watching traditional television, but they're also watching independent movies. It's like there are more gates. It's not like the gatekeepers have disappeared. It's just there are more gates now. There are more ways. This has been, look, I know that this is not a traditional path that I go down all my lives, but this is something I sort of wanted to understand for myself. And particularly, how do I find my way through this whole new playing field that we're going? So if you're enjoying this live, if you're enjoying this chat, please hit follow. Feel free to share this with your fellow creatives. All of that helps the algorithm and helps me discover new audiences. So please hit follow. And this discussion, this whole thing of trying to figure out traditional Hollywood versus the new YouTube creator pipeline, and it won't just be YouTube, it'll be all of the social media channels have this opportunity for creators to create. I'm not telling you to quit auditioning and start a YouTube channel tomorrow. I'm saying that I think the actor whose entire career strategy is waiting to be selected by traditional Hollywood may be making a much riskier bet than they realize. Absolutely stay in class, get good, pursue representation, build your relationships with casting directors and audition, but also stay creative, stay visible, stay connected to people making things. Because while Paramount and Warner Brothers spend the next year fighting about who gets to own Hollywood, the 20-year-old in the coffee shop next to you is right now making the thing that they're going to want to buy next. That's where I think the opportunity is. Oh, El Morgan, yes. See, El Morgan says, for folks over on TikTok, El Morgan says, I'm literally ruminating some of these exact thoughts, finding community to create what you want to see and do. I think it's why I get upset, El Morgan, with the actors who make videos on TikTok and Instagram saying, if one more person tells me to create my own work, I'm just gonna punch them in the face. It's like creating your own work isn't an insult. It's not a you're not doing enough finger wagging. It is, please find the joy in creating, because so much of the traditional actor trajectory can get you down because there can be very little feedback and success and joy to be taken from it. So find the community where you feel creative and satisfied and interested, and your voice is being developed and your views are being expressed, your feelings are being expressed, your thoughts are being created. That's not you must do your homework. That's please find satisfaction in the world that you are a part of. Don't stop being creative just because the actor pipeline forces you to become a number in a lineup. So I am with you. And in doing that, in being creative, I mean, look, acting is a community effort. Actors do not exist without an audience. Theater does not get made without a writer and a director and an actor and an audience and a crew who makes it all happen. Films do not get made uh, unless you're making AI films, in which case, who cares? But films do not get made by one person. There's there is a writer, a director, a cinematographer, lighting, sound. Everything takes a village. Oh, this is why I love talking with Elle Morgan. I love it. Stop seeking satisfaction in rooms that haven't promised that to you. 100%. 100%. It's when you work in a sort of a traditional acting environment, it can be very it can be very difficult to find a creative path within it. And I think about Elle Morgan when I'm talking about this. Elle Morgan and I got to work together on a show at Goodspeed Musicals a couple of years ago called All Shook Up. It's a perfectly lovely and kind of hilarious musical using the music of Elvis Presley to tell this story. And the character that Elle Morgan was tasked with had obviously been written in a very traditional way, I want to say. I miss our drives too. Elle Morgan and I would get in the car because everything is 20 minutes from East Haddam, Connecticut. So we had at least 20 minutes to sit in the car and talk through all of this stuff. But what I loved was watching Elle Morgan turn this very traditionally written character and create something far more nuanced and interesting and complex. And I just that is exactly what we're talking about. It's work to find your way to be creatively satisfied within the more traditional structures. So make sure that you're satisfying yourself outside of those traditional structures. Oh dear. Sorry, I'm getting a ton. Sorry, TikTok. I'm getting a ton of text messages at the moment. It's a travel day for my family, and so we're just keeping each other up to date on our progress. But yeah, this is just my reminder. This whole brain dump about Paramount Warner Brothers merger, about the Disney lineup, about the big stories of traditional Hollywood blockbusters coming back at the movie theater versus non-traditional filmmaking also being successful. All of this brain dump is literally just a way for me to figure out and give myself the reminder that while I am pursuing traditional paths, I have to make sure I'm staying in touch with non-traditional paths that are proving their viability as we speak. Oh, excuse me. It's just the way to keep, I call it to take radical ownership of my creative life. And it's the way to still keep moving forward. Oh, let's see. Her Hergun One Adim. I am from Australia. Originally from Australia, but I am now in New York City. This is the Working Actor NYC, and you are live on the daily. This is your place for real life stories and insights and strategies in building a successful and sustainable acting career. If you want to know more about that sort of thing, head over to the workingactornyc.com. You can find out more about my coaching program over there. But let me know what you're working on in your acting career today. I have to make sure that these lines are well and truly ingrained because I have an audition in about 3 hours. And then I have to come home and finish packing because I am heading off to my next acting job this afternoon. I start rehearsals tomorrow for a new show at the McCarter in Princeton, New Jersey, called A Beat of Our Own. And it is a hilarious musical about a college Bollywood dance team. And at one point, the pharmacology professor auditions for the dance team. So we're going to see. I haven't read the whole script yet. I'm excited. What I have read is very funny. And I am excited to get to work on that. Steph 5791, what's my favorite music? I used to love losing myself on the dance floor in the 90s. So I have always find myself coming back to vocal, garage house, smooth, soulful house music, disco inflected house music. I just love to dance. So that's my favorite. What's yours, Steph? All right, friends. I know that was a big brain dump to get through, but I sort of had to just figure it out for myself. What does this all mean? Thank you for being here. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the follows and the shares. Please let me know what you're working on. Oh, Steph loves Old Schoolhouse too. Excellent. I just love to dance. So as long as I can move my body to it, I'm a fan. But you know what I can't get out of my head at the moment is that song by Ray, "Where the Hell Is My Husband?" I can't get that song out of my head. I find myself just singing that. It's a catchy little tune, that one. All right, friends, I'm going to keep it moving because I do have this audition to do today. So thank you so much. Oh, Pooja. I'm just about to start my day here in New York City, and I have an audition coming up, so I want to make sure that I am fully warmed up and ready and prepared for that. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, wherever you are in your acting career, you got this. Keep going. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., where, of course, I will be coming live from Princeton, New Jersey. So another change of venue. Thank you, El Morgan. I will certainly do my best to kick ass today. Love you. And friends, I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m.